Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to do the round 9 preview for NRL SuperCoach in the 2024 season. So as usual with our round preview, we'll kick things off by looking at the most popular trade options and captaincy options. And I guess we'll start with the trade outs. So on the top of the list this week is Ethan Strange. So I think, a fair sell. I think his break even is up over 100. I'll have a quick look. I say quick look, it's pretty slow normally. Yeah, 103. So he will lose some value over the coming weeks. He may score some points in, the future. Obviously covers around 13 and 14, which is nice. I guess when I talk about the future, they do have the bye next week, but then, they may use that time to reconfigure the halves combination of him and Kaya Weeks in the trial match. Apparently, Strange was the dominant half, but I think that may have just been that he was playing the 7 role, whereas I guess if they've got Weeks in the 7 jumper, they may have that specific role for him. So, because of that uncertainty, the fact he's got the bye next week, he's losing a bit of value. And I can upgrade him this week. I'm going to chop Ethan Strange. James Schiller, same sort of deal, out of the team with Albert Hopewadi back, but has also fallen down below Nick Cottridge. So not as urgent of a sell as Strange, because obviously he won't lose value not playing this week, but if you can upgrade, I think he's one you can get out of. Terrell May, a popular sell. There was a little rumour that Warrior Hargraves might miss this week, which could potentially bump his minutes. But I think if you can upgrade to, one of the sort of keeper type options in the front row, so a Fanua Blake, for example, I think that is a good shout. Sean Lane, Joey Lussick, both on the bye this week. Probably not making us any more money, so if we can upgrade to a keeper, I think, that's a good option. Xavier Savage, so I guess in line with some of the others Raiders assets, he's peaked in price. So people getting off, given their attack doesn't look too good. It'll probably be better this week, in all fairness, but they do have the bye coming up. So he's made us 140k. Obviously, if you got off last week, 170, which was a win. But yeah, I think you can chop Xavier Savage. Jack Bostock, so probably peaked in price. I don't think he's going to lose a lot of cash this week, so you can have another look. But obviously his streak of tries and try assists is finished. As we talked about, he is probably worth a hold, given he covers round 13, 16, 19, which is really handy for our origin buys. But obviously if he's losing value and we can move him to someone else that does a similar job, then it probably makes sense to cut him. Nathan Cleary, so I guess an interesting one. Obviously, for those that traded in last week, and have already wasted 2 trades. Well, waste is probably not the right word. Used 2 trades. An interesting decision. Are you willing to use 4 trades? I guess I'm still in the position where I've used 0 trades on him. I've had him since the start of the season. So I'm going to hold. I've got other things I want to do this week, and I can work around him not playing. Tom Trbojevic, so I did have him as my chop option in the Tops, Chops, Traps and Slaps video yesterday. Go check that out if you haven't yet done so. Shameless plug. But I can understand the logic. Obviously, he will play Origin for New South Wales. There's a gun sort of fullback option in terms of cash generation that we're looking to trade in. So I guess, he is a likely candidate that we can cut and obviously try to get back round 20. And Luke Brooks, so I guess, he's sort of continuing to leak value. Thought maybe he was a chance with DCE looking at a suspension, but he's weaseled his way out of it. So weasel's not the right word. I'm very angry today. Tough day at work. But yeah, Luke Brooks, I think, you can, if you got him in the halfback spot, you obviously want to get Hines, Cleary, well, not Cleary this week, SJ. the guns in. 5/8, you can look at the likes of Munster or Brown. Obviously, you've got Galvin, Plath making money. So plenty of great options in the half. So I think Luke Brooks is expendable. And now Supercoach decides to freeze. We're all trying to get in and make our last minute trades. Traded in this week. Let's have a look. Any fear of working? Maybe I'll try and start getting the coaches' picks for captain and vice captain up as we wait for it to load. Let's just go to the top 10% because they know what's up. So number one trade in this week is Ruben Garrick. So I think, yep, that's the trade. He's probably the cheapest he's going to be for a long time, if not for the whole season, given that he has come off that HIA game dropping his value. Obviously, cracked a massive ton, so we could have got him a bit cheaper. But yeah, if you are looking for a keeper, season long keeper to bring in this week, upgrading Ethan Strange to Ruben Garrick for about 100k, I think that represents really good value. David Armstrong at number two, and so I guess yesterday I've had him as the trap in the Tops, Chops, Traps, and Slaps video. But since then, Jacob Gagai, who was probably my cheapie of the week in the centre wing, has been withdrawn from the South team tonight. The interim coach Ben Hornby going for the experience there. So I think in that case, if you are looking for a cheap centre winger, then Armstrong is your man. So don't like to go early, but can definitely understand it given that change. Any fear of working? There we go. Number three, Trey Fuller. So obviously bottom dollar fullback, averaging something ridiculous break even. Probably get it up here actually. Again, it'll take forever to load. But yeah, I guess obviously if you're running with two gun fullbacks, you do need to make a decision whether it's worth cutting one of them to obviously bring him in. Does open up a lot of money, which does open up a lot of options for trades. So probably the way I'm leaning this week, I can wait a week on Armstrong, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Fanua Blake, so yep, probably the number one front rower to target, particularly given Payne Haas has sort of gone down with a bit of a knee injury. It's going to be a last minute call as to whether he will get up for the game. Any fear of working? There we go. Negative 123. There you go. Only took 5 minutes. But yeah, Fanua Blake can trade in comfortably. Max Plath, I do like as a trade-in option. Still has a lot of value in that price point, given that he's playing big minutes at lock and doesn't mind to do a bit of work. So, yep, Max Plath definitely one you can bring in. Nico Hines, I guess, obviously, if you've got Cleary still, you can bring him in. Obviously, you are paying close to top dollar, and I did have him as the trap in the video yesterday. And that's down to the fact that his upcoming draw is a bit tough. So he will have good weeks against the Dragons this week. And I think in round 11, there's also another favourable matchup. But round 10 and 12, he does come across the Storm and the Panthers. So I guess if you're bringing him in, it is to keep for the season. So don't be discouraged if he does drop a bit of value. I guess if you wanted to wait and try to catch him on that downswing, you definitely could too. But I guess, without Cleary around, you probably need Sean Johnson or another, upper level gun to make sure you're getting close to the points that he can generate on those weeks. Cam Munster, so I guess a similar deal, well, similar but different to Nico Hines in that we can bring him in, but he will play Origin. So, you do have to have a plan around how to sort of hold on to him through that period if you're bringing him in at this point. Yes, the same thing could be said for David Fafita. Probably the number one option in the second row, but obviously we do need to carry him through Origin. Otherwise, we're using 3 trades to get him in, trade him out through Origin, bring him back in. Jacob Gagai at number 9. So I guess this is a few people who've done their trades early and haven't sort of updated. So yeah, if you can reverse that trade, move to Armstrong. or I guess, you can sort of hope that he gets a third game later in the season. If South's situation doesn't get better, they may just want to blood him. I don't think he's the youngest player though, so that might not be the way they go. But I guess that's a gamble you've got to take. So if you can reverse, if you don't have any other options, then maybe be able to park him on the centre wing bench. And Payne Haas, I guess this is one you just wait and see whether he is playing on Friday night before you bring him in. Obviously, if he's not, you could just go to Fanua Blake, actually save a little bit of money. I don't mind Joe Tarpany either. I only really took notice of him when people were trading him out this week, which I thought was crazy. But as a sort of cut price lock in the front row, plays around 13, 14. He would actually be the way I'd go. I didn't have him as the top pick this week, but he's definitely up in my reckoning as we move forward. So in terms of captain, vice captain, so I should have organised this while I was talking. But I think we'll find that there's one Nicho Hines will be the most popular captain option this week. And absolutely, so 80% of the top 10% going with him. So I guess this might be a week to just stick with the crowd. Tom Turbo at number 2, he's always in the captaincy conversation if he's on the field. Perhaps against the Gold Coast, I guess they haven't been as bad recently, the Gold Coast, but a player like Ryan Pappenhausen could potentially carve them up. Sean Johnson against the Knights. So the Knights, the defence looked pretty good against the Dolphins, but I guess SJ is a level up in terms of the halfback that they're up against this week. Dylan Edwards against South, so I guess he was gone well without Cleary in the team, so it could be all the more reason to get on tonight, as a straight sort of captain option and not worry about it for the rest of the week. And then Reece Walsh, Val Holmes, Cam Munster. A few people still on Cleary, obviously haven't got the news yet. And I can't see number 10, so probably not that important. Can't see any movement. I really do need to start doing these on Wednesday night, but it has just been an absolute mess of a week. So the VC conversation, so Turbo into Hines, the obvious sort of choice if you've got them, given the when they play their games and obviously the upside they offer. Pappenhausen at 2, sounds like a good shout. Might try and get around that. Maybe limited because I do want to use Lussick as my loophole. So trying to get around that. Reece Walsh, Ruben Garrix. I guess if you're bringing him in, makes sense to back him in for another big one. Val Holmes, Joey Manu's always in the VC conversation. Scotty Drinkwater, Dylan Edwards. I guess a lot of the usual suspects there. So yeah, let's just go straight to the team and lock in our trades for this week. Perhaps getting there slowly. When it's not your day, it's not your day. Oh, so slow. Oh, there we go. I was about to refresh the page. It must have knew I was threatening. So this week, I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to strengthen our centre wing. It's something I keep talking about, and then cheapies like Schiller, Euro have come up, and we've got on board with that. We've gone with Taylor May as our sort of cheap keeper pod option. Hasn't worked out yet, but we're not losing faith. But in order to make this happen, we're going to get out of Tedesco. So I don't think this is a great trade for everyone. He's bottomed out in price, in my opinion. We talked about Hines having the tough draw with Melbourne and Penrith coming up. Tedesco's 2 last scores have been against Melbourne and Penrith, and they're already gone. So, obviously, other than the Bulldogs game where he got concussed. So, This is not going to be fun. Don't really want to do edits, but I might have to because this is boring YouTube waiting for pages to load. But that'll just make it even later to get out, I suppose, if I try to chop and cut and do things. So apologies. Thanks for sticking with me if you are watching. If you're not watching, I totally understand. Any fear of working SuperCoach? Alright, maybe we'll just cut to a scene where I've got the 3 trades locked in once they're done. Because this is a joke. Alright. So I suppose the first move, as I've discussed, I can't find him. So Trey Fuller in. So this is going to generate a bit of cash for us. As I already alluded to, I can go Ethan Strange up to Ruben Garrick, nice and easy. And it leaves us with 300,000 in the bank. So I'm going to boost and we're going to upgrade James Schiller and we're going to upgrade to Jermaine Osako. So very similar to Fuller. Jack Bostock, plays for the Dolphins, which is that nice buy coverage. Um, so, pretty much one we can lock in for the next 10 weeks or thereabouts. Could even be a season long keeper. So if we complete those trades, in terms of the team setup this week, so obviously with Lossick and Cleary out, it's pretty easy to bring Kikau and Curran back into the fold. And then I guess we just need to fix up our backs. So Sarko on for Bostock, Garrick on for Eero, Kiraz on for May. So, we've got all playing, so it's a bit hard to, I guess, try and loop a centre wing in. So, I guess Taylor May will just hang on to till he does come back into form. And then with the VC, so we'll swap them over. Paps does play the game before, so it's a slight advantage. But as we said, if we have Pappenhausen as vice captain, we can't bring Lussick in. Henry's playing in the first game, so is Cleary, so that doesn't really work for us. So it's got to be someone a bit earlier than the Storm game, so we can obviously get Harry Grant out, which does sort of limit us to these 6 teams. So South Penrith, Manly, Raiders, Broncos, Roosters. And I guess probably the best shout we've got out of that is Ruben Garrick. So if we put him as the VC, and then Hines just as the captain, like everyone else, and that is how the team's going to look. I guess we could shuffle our second row around a bit because Kikau and Curran play fairly early. Maybe swap with Cotter, something like that. I think is when the first sort of guys play. Yeah, cool. So that's the team for this week. I guess just quickly, if it's working well now, I'll go to the draft just because I've made an exciting move. Obviously, this season hasn't been going fantastic, but I got myself a bit of Matt Burton, which I'm pretty stoked for. So I'm going to slot him in at 5'8". So I got Tamari Martin covering 5'8" and fullback, and obviously if Cleary's out, actually Cleary is out. Oops, I need to sub him back. So Burton will play halfback this week. And then, do we want Brayley or Salmon? I reckon we want Brayley as our flex. And, we'll go with Yo as the VC this week. If he gets a decent score, we might just lock him in. tonight. We've got a few on the bench that we can bring in. But otherwise, who do we go as captain? No, maybe we don't muck around. Maybe we just go straight CR9 Isaiah. And if he falls down in the warm up, we'll have Paps as a backup, I suppose. Yeah, that'll do. I'm not too fast. As I said, it's not going well this season. I'm pretty sure I'm sitting ninth on the ladder. Wanted to get Burton in to have some fun, so I did cost me Tedesco and Aiden Caesar. So it seems a bit crazy swapping Tedesco and someone for Burton, but I wanted him bad. I had some offers for Cleary. Maybe I should have took them now, but I wasn't really interested in trading Cleary. But we'll wrap it up there. So thanks very much for watching, as always. Obviously, if you've got any comments, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy SuperCoach and all the content that I'm providing around it. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.